Hey dudes, welcome to Splat from the Past, the only 80s themed horror and sci-fi show where things can get totally radical. Now today I will be interviewing a woman that I've known for about 7 years now. Her name is Cathy Lemons. She's a very powerful singer. She used to perform at a bar that I used to work at in South San Francisco, California, called The Standby. And I'm having her on the show today to talk about how performing music began for her, how she first got the musical bug, and how she got to the Bay Area. I believe she's from Texas, and all that stuff, and find out how her music career has come to be. And like I said, she's got a powerful voice, and she's a very nice lady, and it's going to be a pretty good show, I think. So, here is my interview with Cathy Lemons.
Hello.
Hi, Cathy.
Hi, Tommy. What's happening?
Oh, nothing much. I am just fabulous. Life has gotten so much better in the last few years.
Well, that's always great to hear. My God, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
You don't hear that a lot.
No, especially not in this time.
Yeah, really? Ooh.
Yeah.
Wow.
Because I met you right at the beginning of me becoming a lost soul when I was first working at the Standby.
Oh, wow. Okay. Are you the comedian?
Yes.
Okay, now I remember who you are. Yes. I was trying to figure it out. I was like, I know this name, and I was just trying to remember. So that's great. So how's that going for you?
Well, I haven't done stand-up in 2 years, but because I've been up here in Reading where there's no stand-up, but I've been doing this podcast, 422 episodes, and I'm pursuing show business in general because I also act and I write and stuff, and I'm moving to LA later this year.
Well, that's great. So things are looking good. That's great. Well,
Finally.
Did you want to interview Phil and I together? Phil is here. What kind of an interview did you want to do? It's going to be sound. Are you taping it? How does this work?
It's sound, and what I usually do is I like to interview one person because the only time I've ever done two people at once is this one time. This one person was deaf and needed some interpreting, but so I like to do one person. Okay. Yeah.
All right. Okay. Well, then I'm going to just take you. Hold on a second. Let me just explain that to someone. I'm going to take you off speaker too. It'll make it easier.
Okay. Hello?
Okay, well, Tommy, let's go ahead and start, and whatever you want to ask me, I'll do my best to be clear.
Okay. So, going back to the beginning, was music something that was on your radar early on?
Since I was about 7, I wanted to be a singer, 7 years old, and my mother was a singer, and my father played the piano and French horn, and my sister was a classical pianist, and so I grew up with music in my house and listening to it all the time. And my mother would sing, and she was a soloist in the choir and stuff like that. So I was always hearing music and singing and records and all of those things. And so I always loved to sing since I was very, very small.
Nice, nice. Where are you from originally?
Well, that question always throws me for a loop because I moved about 14 times before I was 16. So I was born in Eau Claire, Wisconsin. My parents were from the Midwest. We lived in 3 different states before I was 5 in the Midwest. Then we went to Entebbe, Uganda, East Africa for several years, and then Kingston, Jamaica. My mother was a little bit, she had some challenges, let's put it that way. So she would do what I would call a zigzag, and we moved back and forth between different locations. So, for example, when I was 11, we went from Kingston, Jamaica to the ghettos of Dallas, Texas, and then we ended up going to Kingston, New York, and then back to Dallas, Texas, and then Kingston, New York, and then back to Dallas, Texas. So I moved all the time when I was a child. Basically, we settled in Texas, in Dallas, Texas, when I was, let's see, first round was 11, second round was when I was 14. So basically from 14 on, that was the setting for my young, as a teenager up till I moved out to the Bay Area here when I was in my mid-20s, so, mid to late 20s. So I'm all over the map when it comes to where I'm from. I can't even answer the question, but I would say I grew up in Dallas, Texas, if that helps you.
Yeah, I vaguely remember you mentioning that you grew up in Texas at one point.
Yeah, I sure did. Yeah, for many years. It was good, good chunk of time.
Mm-hmm. And who did you listen to back then when you were growing up?
You mean as a child or as a teenager?
Either way.
Oh, well, let's see. My sister used to play a lot of records, like she would play Jefferson's Airplane and Grace Slick. I loved Grace Slick. I liked Rita Coolidge. And I liked Maria Muldaur. And then later on, when I was getting into blues and swing, I listened to everything. I listened to Ella Fitzgerald. I listened to Big Mama Thornton. I listened to Coco Taylor. I listened to Sarah Vaughan. Billie Holiday was a particular favorite. Mm-hmm. So I liked a lot of the male singers as well.
Wow. So it's a whole diverse package there.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Huge amounts of, basically kind of starts with rock music because that's what my sister put on the record player, and she would play these different people that I enjoyed. But then later when I began to explore blues, I started really digging around, and then my friends would say, hey, have you heard Lowell Fulton? I'd be like, oh, wow, listen to this. Or, you start with Junior Wells. He's one of the greats that everybody starts with. But, later on I discovered, Memphis Minnie. And so there's just a very huge spectrum of artists that I've listened to over the years.
Mm-hmm. Who would you say was your biggest musical influence?
Well, when I was in Texas, I heard Luann Barton live, and I would hear stories from my friends who knew her, and I greatly admired her. She was kind of on the brink of some major fame there for a few seconds. She was signed to, I forgot his name, that really heavyweight down there. He signed Aretha Franklin and some other folks on a big record label.
Oh.
It's not coming to me now.
Oh, Ahmed Ertegun.
No, not Ahmed. I'm thinking of, oh my God, I'm gonna have to ask.
Jerry Wexler?
Yeah, Jerry Wexler, that's the one.
Mm-hmm.
So she was doing some interesting songs. She put out this album called Old Enough, and I went to see her live, and I really studied her, and I really emulated her in the beginning because I really loved the way she took control of the stage instantly, how she wasn't singing a whole bunch of crazy notes, but really kind of a simple approach, a lot of metal in her voice, a lot of country in her voice, and I really dug what she was doing. So she was a big influence in my early career. I would say Luann Barton was pretty influential.
Nice,
And
yeah.
of course, later she did lots of things with, Stevie Ray Vaughan, of course, but Jimmy Vaughan, she made some records with him and toured with him for a number of years. So she's best known for that. But she was a tremendous singer, and especially live.
You sure have a lot of that versatility in your voice.
Yeah, she's wonderful. I still to this day love Luann Barton. I'm never tired of her. She's great.
Did you ever take singing lessons?
Not until I started working with Phil. I mean, I had some voice lessons when I was 14, 15. I was in choirs. I understood the mechanics of singing. My mother was a singer. She was trained. She explained a lot of things to me. So she kind of steered me, my mom. But I really, I went to music school when I was about, I'd say about 30, 31. I went and studied some theory, and I tried to, get a grasp on how to read a little bit, and failed miserably at that. But basically, I understand the rudiments of music, but it wasn't until I got with Phil Berkowitz as the Lucky Losers, the current band I'm in, that I became so challenged, because I was trying to hit much higher notes than I'm used to, and I was getting very, very frustrated because I'm singing a little 2 or 3 steps up from Phil's root notes. And so I was getting very, very frustrated, not being unable to hit these notes with clarity and really perfect pitch. So I started going to Raz Kennedy about 4 years ago, and he really was a game changer for me, a great vocal teacher who's taught me a lot about singing. It's what he calls modes. It's like this thing is called the PVT mode, complete vocal technique mode. So there's neutral, which is this singing really soft, and you can have a little fast, you can have a little metal, but it's very quiet singing. And then there's, more of this thing called curbing, and that is there's a kind of a hold in your voice, and it's mostly metal, which means, a lot of metallic sound. And then the overdrive, which is what I had been predominantly singing in all my life, which is belting, which is a punch from your diaphragm to get that big sound out real quick, and most singers sing in overdrive in blues, Muddy Waters, for example, Howlin' Wolf. So that's what I had been singing in. And then there's this other mode called Edge, which is by Chris Stapleton, where it's very, very metallic, but it takes a tremendous amount of support. Tina Turner is an edge singer. If you can imagine Tina Turner singing, that's Edge. So he helped me realize that I can't sing in overdrive all the time, that I have to change modes. So when I'm singing softly, I have to relax my jaw. I have to relax my face and just softly, completely relax, just be quiet. And then in overdrive, I have to have much more support and a lot more metallic, bright sound. And so those two ideas have helped me tremendously. I used to get hoarse. Gig after gig, if I have a lot of gigs in a row, I get hoarse. So now I don't really have that problem as much anymore, unless I forget for a moment something he taught me. But for the most part, it's all about the support that you provide from your diaphragm while you're singing, is continuous breath support for every phrase, and never dropping that support and getting that metallic sound, that bright, clear sound out. And it's still a challenge. Singing is very, very difficult. It's a physical exercise. You have to be in shape. You can't sit around the house and eat ice cream all day and then get up and sing. It doesn't work like that. You have to be in good physical shape to sing well, unless it's just some sort of bizarre, quirky, God-given thing like Aretha Franklin, who could do anything but it's like, for me, I have to really work hard to stay in shape. So it's a challenge. It's a big, heavy challenge.
Yeah. Can you get to 4-octave range like Pat Benatar?
Hell no. Hell no. No. I have a very, very basic range.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not interested so much in range as I am as having something to say and saying it well. I'm much more interested in phrasing, note choices, and basically singing like a horn or instrument where you're weaving melodies around what you're hearing around you. And that's a tremendous skill. You have to be aware of what the musicians are doing or not doing.
Mm-hmm.
To be able to make great music, you have to be part of the whole, and you need tremendously good time. You've got to have that time. You have to be able to carry the band with the tempo and not drop it. And if you're doing a blues song with stops, for example, you're the timekeeper. So all those things are what interest me. There are many singers that have great ranges, but that's not always the most interesting singer. So it just depends on what you like. Some people are very impressed by that. And it is impressive. It's a beautiful thing to hear a wide, beautiful range, but I don't think it's everything.
Mm-hmm. How many instruments do you play, if any?
Well, I used to play the guitar, and I don't play the guitar currently, although I have one and fiddle about with it. But mostly I've just been a singer my whole life. I've never really had to play an instrument because I consider the voice an instrument as it is. So my body is my instrument, my personality is my instrument. So, yeah. So, I mean, I understand enough of music to be able to communicate to musicians what I want. And, over the years, of course, there's a lot of ways to communicate what you want on the bandstand or in a rehearsal. But I don't play any instruments.
Well, that's a very beautiful and positive message. My body is my instrument. I like that. I like that.
Yeah, it sure is. Yeah, right on, man.
How old were you when you started playing in your first band?
I was 17, and it was kind of a swing folk band where we did a little bit of Dan Hicks and the Hot Licks and a little Bob Wilson, a little Maria Muldaur, and a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But it was kind of a swing band, and I played percussion and sang and had some lead and 3-part harmony. It was a lot of fun. It was a really cool band. It was called Man Fight Dog. It was a really cool band. I wished we'd stayed with it. It was super unique. It was in Dallas, Texas that we did that. We had 2 male singers and me, and we had a lot of percussion going on. We had a piano player, we had a drummer, and a guitar player, and it was really neat. It was a cool band. I'll always think about that band as a cool thing.
It kind of reminds me.
Way ahead of our time.
It kind of reminds me of the husband and wife that are in the '80s band Quarter Flash. They started out doing folk music in high school. Yeah.
Cool.
It reminds me of that.
Cool.
Now, in all the years that you've been doing this, have you opened for superstar bands?
Well, I was John Lee Hooker's send-off singer in 1987. I did a couple of tours with him. I was with a packaged group. It was John Lee Hooker, Elvin Bishop, 2 members of the Nighthawks, Pinetop Perkins, and John Hammond Jr.
Nice.
And that was a really incredible learning experience. So I would go out and sing a couple of songs, opening up the set, and then the other individuals would come up. And then at the end of the night, if I did a really good job in the beginning, I would get to come on at the end and join on stage with them. So that was pretty cool. That was a great learning experience for me, and certainly it was really cool. It was really neat. And then we did another tour. Hooker had a tremendous influence on the way I see a song. He came from a complete heart. He didn't care about form or format or following a 12-bar format. He did whatever he wanted. His musicians were expected to follow him and listen very carefully and go with his feel. And he was a feel singer. And he sang in these amazing, incredible licks that were repetitious, and he would repeat an idea over and over again if it moved him. And I just loved his singing and listened to him every chance I got. And I learned a lot from him. Just being able to listen to that great singer night after night was an incredible, incredible thing.
I bet he was one of the greats, I think, in blues.
He was incredible. He was just magical. You could hear a pin drop if you wanted to bring the audience into that moment that he was feeling. You could just hear a pin drop. And, oh, my God, it's so cool.
Mm-hmm. Have you ever come close, or did you, or I should say, because the business has changed so much, did you ever come close to getting a record contract?
Well, Hooker tried to get me with Virgin Records, and we did do a demo, but the circumstances were just such, they were kind of ridiculous. He was with his keyboard player, Deacon Jones, and Deacon had written some songs. They wanted me to sing the songs. Buddy Miles had sung the first versions of these songs in his key, so they wanted me to try these songs, overdubbing the songs that had been recorded with Buddy Miles. So I had to come in and sing in all these keys that really were for men. Didn't go so well. I mean, they were all right. I did all right, but wrong keys, didn't take enough time, just went in, kicked them out, see if we could get a bite on this stuff, didn't work out, but that was a shot. And then in 2010, I ended up on This Tone label group, which is a national important label in blues, and I did Lemonade with them, which did quite well. And then I did Black Crow with This Tone, which is a national label, and we're actually thinking about going back to This Tone for our next record as the Lucky Losers. We're giving that some serious thought. They do very well with the awards. They are in with Memphis. They have good distribution with Red Eye. They have a lot of really, good artists, good quality. Bob Margolin has been around for decades. Of course, he was Muddy Waters' guitarist at one time, and he's pretty savvy. They're good guys. Rosie Rosenblatt and Bob Margolin do This Tone, so that's the other label. But that's it. I've never made the big time. No.
No, but...
At least certainly not that I'm aware of, although I do have a strange little story, and now that I think about it, when I was 23, I made a demo of me singing Wade in the Water, and I did 3-part harmony over it. Mm-hmm. It was just, we did this in a studio, this friend of mine's, and some guy that worked for John Hammond heard it and went nuts and wanted me to come out to New York and shit, but nothing ever happened to that. But that was interesting. You never know. Music is a weird thing. You just never know.
I love how you
just. Can happen.
I love how you just said shit. I've been waiting for you to curse. When and why? I know you mentioned earlier that you were in your 20s when you moved to the Bay Area. Why did you move to the Bay Area initially?
Well, I moved to the Bay Area because I had been doing all kinds of crimes in Texas as an addict. And all my friends got arrested, and I was on the run, and they were after me, and apparently I had done some robberies, and they were after me, and this is such a long time ago I can talk about it, but it's true. I really did get chased out of Texas, and they were after me, and I came to the Bay Area, and I was getting phone calls from private detectives and all kinds of things. I just ignored them and went about my business once I got here, but I got in a whole bunch of trouble in Texas. I was running with a lot of addicted, crazy maniacs, and they got in all kinds of trouble. We did all kinds of really bad things, but I never hurt anybody. I never did anything violent, and if it looked like it was getting violent, I was out. So, but I had a lot of drug problems in my 20s up to about, I would say, 30. And I had a huge chunk of time that really cost me personally and physically, because I was a heroin addict, cocaine, speed, crazy, out there on the streets running around. So I had a really hard time with drugs for a number of years, but then I cleaned up. I would say about 1991, things really shifted. I went back to college. I, got a handle on my life, started, cleaning up, got it together. Took me a long time. I had a number of years that I was very checked out.
Wow.
Fortunately.
Yeah, that was like during my era too. Like I was doing cocaine around the time that we met. And
yeah, it's just so hard on your body and mind.
Yeah.
Very, very hard.
Yeah, not to mention the fact that I was drinking every day, which led to my car accident.
Yeah, if there's any way for someone to get help, get some treatment, get some therapy, get some, whatever works for them. Everybody has a different path to get treatment or help with these problems. We all, at some point of our lives, might end up in a situation where we feel like we've lost control over certain substances. And there's lots of ways to heal yourself. You don't have to stay in that terrible mess. You can get out at any age, under any circumstance, if you want to. You can get out.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. You could. It's like what Don Henley said. You could check out at any time, but you can never leave.
Well, I disagree with Don Henley. You can completely leave if you want to. The door is wide open. It's just whether or not you open the damn thing. You can leave. We write the script for our life. If you want a different script, go ahead and write it and open the door. Don't stay in the box.
Mm-hmm. What does the future hold for Cathy Lemons?
Well, right now, Phil and I are about to go on this big tour. Phil books our tours himself. And this will be our 7th tour, and we go out into the U.S., and we go, last fall we did a 26-venue tour to the Midwest and the South. We were all over. We did about, 8 states, 26 venues. This fall we're going to 13 states, 25 venues. This time it's 3 festivals. We're going to do the famous Blue Plate special live radio show in Knoxville, which is one of the shows. We're going to be filmed in Nashville at the Low Call, which is a blues jam, but somehow we ended up getting in a situation where we're actually going to get filmed and interviewed, which is fantastic. We're going to cool our heels in New Orleans just for fun during their Jazz Fest week. But we're going to go to 13 different states. Really looking forward to it. We've got a nice, really good band, most from here, but we have our bass player from Portland. But we've toured with him before, and so I'm very, very excited about doing this tour. It's sort of like, a yo-yo in our lives right now with Phil and I. We work very, very hard, put a tour together, go out there, bust our asses, come back home, and then have to pick up the pieces and do it all over again. But we usually do about 2 tours a year, and our plan is to record another album by December. And this time I think we might tackle, we're debating this, but we're thinking about doing a traditional blues album and then follow it up with an all-original album 6 months later. So it's kind of an ambitious idea, but I personally really want to pursue the songwriting because I think that's where my best talent lies. So I've got about 6 songs on the burner waiting to put them, cook them. So, just keep on playing, keep on touring, keep on recording until we drop.
Yeah.
You can't do it anymore. That's kind of the deal.
You play the blues to the day you die.
As long as you can do it, without embarrassing yourself. Now, if you're embarrassing yourself, it's time to quit. We're sounding good. We have a nice blend. We do a little, he plays harmonica beautifully, but we combine our voices, and then he sings a little lead, and I'll harmonize with him, or I'll sing some lead, and then we sing together. So it's like a show, and it works out really well, especially on the road, because not one person is having to hold up the whole thing. You have two singers. It's so much easier. It's like a breath of fresh air for me.
Mm-hmm.
It's really great. Yeah, it's cool.
Now, here's the fun part of the show. I like to do this thing with guests where I ask 4 silly questions, and
Okay.
after each one, you answer, and then you ask me the same question, and I answer.
So, say that again. So, the first one, I answer.
No, all 4 of them.
And
Yeah, I ask the question, you answer, and then you ask me, and then I answer.
Oh, okay. Okay, so I'm going to ask you 4 questions after you ask me 4 questions.
Well, yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's give and take.
Okay. Well, let's try it.
Okay, 4 silly questions. Cathy, are you ticklish?
God, I think so. I don't know. I guess I do. Depends on the spot.
Mm-hmm. Now you ask me.
Oh, and this is silly, right?
Are you ticklish?
Where
Yeah.
are you ticklish?
I'm ticklish everywhere.
Aha. Okay.
Is your belly button an innie or an outie?
It's an innie.
And then you ask me.
Oh. So, if I'm an innie and I am an extrovert, that must mean if you're an outie that you're an introvert. Am I right?
I never heard that before. I should use that. That's pretty funny.
But you didn't answer.
I have an innie.
Okay, so that means you're probably an extrovert.
I could be an introvert, though. Yeah.
Okay.
Like a lot of performers, they're shy off stage, but they're outgoing on stage.
Yes, I hear you. Sure.
What color are your toenails painted?
They are not painted at all. I don't have the patience to paint anything. I'm too busy. That's a lot of work.
And
What kind of toenail polish do you prefer?
on a woman, I love like red, pink, purple, white French tip with sparkles, that kind of stuff. But
Nice.
mine are not painted right now.
Okay.
And now here's my favorite one. Is there a particular stinky smell that makes you gag?
Yes, Phil's fart.
That's a good answer. That's probably one of the best ones. One of the best ones I've had on this podcast.
So now I got to ask you, and what is your favorite fart smell?
That I don't have a favorite fart smell, but
Oh, you don't like farts, okay.
I remember the first 6 months that I was out of the hospital, I had pretty bad athlete's foot, and that was the absolute worst ever.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, now Phil's going to get mad at me if this is published, but at least he'll get a laugh out of it.
Now, I got, before we go, I got a really funny joke to tell you that I like to tell on the show.
Okay. All right.
Okay. Cinderella is about to go to the ball, and she's on her period, and the fairy godmother gives her these magic tampons and says, okay, you can go to the ball, but you have to be home by midnight or else they'll turn into a pumpkin. Cinderella says, "Okay, fairy godmother, I will." So 12:30 rolls around. Cinderella hasn't shown up. Fairy godmother is pacing around the house. But then she does show up at 4 a.m. and she's stumbling drunk. And fairy godmother's like, "Where were you? You were supposed to be home by midnight." And Cinderella's like, "I'm so sorry, fairy godmother. I met this great guy and we danced all night. His name was Peter Peter." Love that joke.
Pretty good. Oh my God.
Well,
Oh my God.
Cathy, I thank you so much for coming on today. You are the very definition of Southern hospitality.
Oh, well, thank you for having me, Tommy. And we'll do it again maybe next year. All right. All right. Well, I look forward to hearing all the mistakes I made today.
Well, you certainly made
right.
you certainly made no mistake coming on. I mean,
good.
I just adore you, and I hope if I get to come to the Bay Area at some point before I leave, I get to see you perform one more time.
Right on, right on. Yeah, just go to thelukylosers.com and then calendar, and all our dates are there. Yeah. That'd be great, man. That'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, come see me. Yeah. All right, Tommy.
Okay.
Well, thank you for doing this. This was cool. And I'll look up your stuff. I was looking at it. Is it Splat from the past?
Splat
Tommy
from the
Kovac?
past. Tommy Kovac, Splat from the past.
Splat from the past. Okay. All right.
Okay. You have yourself a great day.
You too. Okay. Take care. Bye-bye.
Okay, bye-bye. Well, there you have it. Cathy Lemons. Ain't she a sweetheart? Thank you so much, Cathy. You're a lot of fun, and you're a talented lady with a great voice. And I hope I get to see you one more time before I move. If you like this video, everyone, please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Add me as a friend on Facebook. Join my Tommy Kovac comedian page on Facebook. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. Well, that's all the time we have this week on Splat from the Past. Until next time, this is Tommy Throwback Kovac saying, there's no shame in living in the past, because the present sucks. Later, dudes!